Hey everyone, my name is Connor Slayton and I trade futures along with running this YouTube channel full time. This is the second episode of our $500 to $10,000 day trading to end world hunger challenge, where we start with a $500 account and make our way up to $10,000. I'm documenting every step of the way on this challenge, and at the end of it, I'll be donating $10,000 to World Vision regardless of the outcome. In our last video, we secured $470 in profit using 3 contracts of Micro ES. We're sticking with the same position sizing here, as we're not going to scale until we get to a $1,500 account size. As you can see, when the market opened, we armed the Polarity ATI in both directions. Once we entered this trade, it detected a long trade, so once we entered, we decided to continually arm long. Our strategy today is pretty much the exact same as we were using in the last strategy, where because we're trading micros, we're looking for low sensitivity, high probability trades. What this means is that we're only looking for one imbalance. However, the Polarity ATI is tuned for a much lower sensitivity than we would if we were trading 3 stacked imbalances. The settings we're using are in the description and in the pinned comment. If this is your first time watching us, we're using the Polarity ATI, which is an in-house developed automated trading interface, which automates the execution and trade management aspect of this strategy. It has a full guidebook which teaches you guys exactly how you can use this strategy and how you can take advantage of it in your own trading. If you want to take a look, check it out, linked in the description. So circling back to our trading, after our first trade filled for a profit, we got entered in on another long imbalance. We're going to continue following our plan to continue arming in the direction of the open until either Delta shows us otherwise or we get stopped out of a trade. So we get filled into this long trade right here, which ends up not working out, which does end the cycle of us continuously arming in the long direction because market open. But I want to show you guys that I'm marking key resistance levels and support levels that are being formed as we walk through this trade. Here you could have exited the trade early when you started marking these areas. However, I decided to stick with it because I want to show you guys a good example of sticking to your trade strategy. I want to show you guys that it is possible to be profitable while following a to-the-book strategy, not having to adapt. I'm trying to make it as least discretionary as possible. So these levels that we're marking are extremely close to each other. This isn't enough of a range to where we're going to arm in either direction, so we're only going to go with the information that we have at this point. We're looking for a long trade here. If we get a very, very sharp decrease in delta, as well as some really strong price action and volume in that direction, we might consider arming short. But here, we're really only going to be looking for that one simple entry condition of it breaking above that resistance line and closing above that resistance line. So once that price closes above that resistance point, we're going to arm long. If it ended up going in the short direction, we're going to wait, look for some more volume, as well as a really stark decrease in delta. So right there, we saw price break above and close there, so we decided to arm long. We're just waiting for that imbalance to form. An imbalance formed on the bar prior, however, since we weren't armed, we were waiting for it to close above. We didn't get into a trade there. So here we got entered into that double stacked imbalance trade. Once again, it's only looking for one imbalance, so if that one wasn't there, it still would have been a trade. Now we just got filled. We're continually arming long because delta is staying positive. We're not seeing any depression of delta, and price action is heavily correlated with delta still. So here we get a little bit of a pullback. We're not going to disarm too quickly because delta is still positive. However, if it continues to dive and we see a really stark decrease in price along with delta, we are probably going to disarm long. But we do see a really nice price action recovery right there. So right there, we got entered in that trade on the 140 imbalance. So we got about 1 tick up on that fill. So I'd say that's pretty decent. I'm working on ways to increase execution speed on MES. I end up getting a lot more slippage when trading this micro contract instead of ES. So it's always more advantageous in both commissions as well as execution speed to trade the full contract. However, a lot of us can't trade the full contract. So I'm showing you guys it's very, very possible to be profitable while trading the micro contract. So here's one issue with automatically rearming in the long direction when you're trading 1 imbalance instead of 3. We got that really, really terrible fill based off of that 168 imbalance at the bottom right. This does lead to us ending or getting a loss here. We shouldn't have taken this loss, and honestly I should have closed this trade out right when it happened because it was a really, really atrocious fill. We got filled at least 10 ticks above where we should have. Not where we should have because we were in the trade at the time, but we shouldn't have taken this trade at all. We should have just exited, manually left it out. I want to show you guys that you guys can leave trades early even while using the automated strategy. This is a hands-on strategy in that way, but we end up losing this trade because of that mistake. And then right after that, we end up missing a trade. We should have armed short right after we lost it, but we were a little bit shaken up on what happened in the last trade, so we didn't have a good reaction time in arming short. Should have armed short after that third consecutive decrease in prices, along with delta continuously decreasing there. We would have caught that 112 imbalance, and we would have filled on another profitable trade. So once we catch that, we already missed it, but we armed short, which actually does lead us ending out on missing on this whole entire move right here, which is unfortunate. However, it does happen. I hope this shows you guys that I still continue to fight my emotions and my mental acuity when trading. It's important to realize that everyone who trades is human too. We're not robots, and you just need a system that can compensate for our shortcomings as human beings. This one I think does really well because it takes a lot of the human error out of it. Doesn't eliminate all of it. However, it should really help you guys in maintaining an edge even with your emotions and not in check. So we skip forward here a little bit. Some support and resistance lines have formed. These are the same lines back here. We haven't marked any new ones, but it shows you guys how historical support and resistance lines can be used in the future. So we extend those lines a little bit, increase their thickness to show us a little bit more of a margin for where we're going to go on this new price action. It's not the exact same, however, it's similar. As you can see by that risk reward tool we had marked right over there, we ended up missing out on another trade because we disarmed it. We were just a little bit shaken up by that last move there. Didn't really understand what's going on, but it's okay. We do end up capturing some more alpha even with that taken into consideration. Don't get discouraged, guys, if you miss trades. There are going to be tons of trades in the future. Each individual trade is not actually that big of a deal, you missing out on it or losing on it, because there are so many more in the future. However, we do get our time to shine here when price starts to move and breaks out on this short direction here. We end up not arming air because we don't want to arm early when those 3 imbalances come up here, but when we do arm, an imbalance does appear in the short direction, and we continue to move downward, and we get that really nice clean fill. Because we're armed short even while in that trade, once that trade closes, we instantly get entered into that new trade on those 2 140 and 107 imbalances in the short direction, and we get filled really quickly there. We arm short again because we want to continuously be looking for alpha. However, we disarm when we see delta has moved up, moved on the positive side, even though prices continued negative. We always have to be really quick on that. You see that 250% increase in delta there. So we end up calling it just because it's been a pretty stressful trade. We made a lot of mistakes. However, we did end up profitable at $198 in profit. On 3 contracts for a $1,000 account, I'd say that's pretty good. That's a 20% gain. Not as substantial as our almost 100% gain in the last episode. However, we are very close to our $1,500 mark on where we're going to be scaling up in the contract size. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in and watching until the very end. You've all been very supportive, and I can't describe how great that feels for me. If you're interested in the strategy and software I'm trading in this video, check out the Polarity ATI bundle in the description, where you can get all the software you need with an included strategy and setup guide for a discounted price. Stay tuned for more on this challenge as well as my personal trading account. Thank you guys so much for watching again, and have a great rest of your week.